How's it going, everyone? Data here, and after long last, it is time to begin the NHL 07 Dynasty Mode. If you saw the NHL 07 roster review, you know that I'm working off of the old PlayStation 2 with a million wires. That makes me feel like I'm at NASA Mission Control. And there's no emulator on my PC or anything like that, so it's not 1080p. It's not the greatest quality, but we're just here to have fun, and I hope that this will be a very enjoyable series. Bring back some nostalgia for us, and that we'll have a great time. And who are we going to be having a great time with? None other than the team that no longer exists, sadly, the Atlanta Thrashers. We had a poll, and it was resoundingly in favor of Atlanta, so that is what we will be doing. In this episode, it will be the setup of the Dynasty Mode, and we'll be going through all the different systems and different pages, and then I suppose in next episode, episode 1, since this is episode 0, we'll start taking into consideration your suggestions and what we should be doing with the team. So, settings to begin the Dynasty Mode. What is the league called? I don't know why this really exists. I suppose I'll just call it the NHL. There we go, NHL, league name. Skill level, we'll just put difficult because I don't think it really matters. Period length, 5 minutes is fine. Starting rosters, current, so that just means whatever. Well, there's no really updated rosters to put, so season tie break, 5 minutes, then a shootout. Yeah, so aka overtime followed by a shootout. And the All-Star game is East versus West. Great. Rules, penalties, sliders. I don't really know what the ideal place to put these at are, so I'll just leave them default for the moment. Offsides are on, icing's on, two-line pass off, throwback. Playoffs, best of 7, continuous OT, 1 point for an overtime loss. Hero ratings are on. We saw that in the roster overview. It seems as though it's kind of like a poise type rating. Not entirely sure, but hey, hero ratings, let's keep them on. And assistant coach edits lines, no, because we'll be doing all of that. So move on to the next page now. So select team, going to the Atlanta Thrashers, 84 overall team with 84 offense, 83 defense, and 85 goaltending. 2-star assistant GM, 2-star goalie coach, and everything else is 1-star. Interesting that you get these kind of, organizational breakdowns here, and that, I need my strategic coach to be boosted. I need my goalie coach to be boosted, as opposed to just signing random guys and they give you attributes. You can just say, like, okay, I can take this one guy and build on him. But I digress. Owner expectations that we make the playoffs. Looking at the dynasty info on this team, the last season record was 41, 33, and 8. And look at the profits as well and the money. That's really interesting because we have revenue. We also have expenses. So that leaves us with $30 million left over. With that $30 million, we do other things like maybe getting a power skating coach because that's at 0 stars right now. Maybe getting a little bit of a medical team or a gym together. Some team functions. The front office is okay. No legal team. So this is interesting. You take the money and you dedicate it to different places. I'd rather be saying, I want to upgrade my medical staff as opposed to, my bathrooms need level 2 upgrading. I won 6 straight Stanley Cups, but my bathrooms weren't upgraded. My owner is not happy. So I'm much more happy with the system as it was back in NHL 07. GM profile. How do I get to GM profile? If I just press continue, here we go. Advantage, being on the Thrashers, we start with a higher trust, but the disadvantage is that we have a slightly higher owner expectation, which right now is making the playoffs, and we're not a very good team. So, name, we're going to go with GM, GM data. I need to remember that buttons are a little bit different in NHL 07. GM data, there he is. Continue, and let's start this puppy up. So here in 2006-2007, the Atlanta Thrashers are just a few years away from moving to Winnipeg as they left in 2011-2012. The 2010-11 season was their last one. So here in this Dynasty Mode, we want to keep this team in Atlanta, and our goal is to try and win a Stanley Cup, or at least make a good run before we get to year number 4 or 5, because we want to try and say, all right, we're going back in time and trying to keep this team here. So that is the goal of this Dynasty Mode. Not just to do well, and 2020 we're doing great stuff in 15 years, but within 4 to 5 years, let's make a good run at the Stanley Cup, at least one, if not more. So as we can see at the menu here, we have the day-to-day, we have the GM options, the coaching options, stats central, and rules and options. So starting off in the day-to-day, we have the play game, sim game, calendar that shows you, as you know, just a normal NHL shows you the calendar. And what's interesting is it also shows you the overall of the team you're playing and the conference and divisional spot that they're at, not just their record. So I do appreciate that about the calendar function. Team reports, you can go into here and see what's up with your team or other teams, and it's their status, their injuries, and their team info. So the GM obviously is some random name, but the captain and the alternates are all real, like Saki Hoyle, but the captain of the Leafs, obviously Mats Sundin here. Then we move over to the GM options. We obviously have the trade players, which is a staple in any Dynasty mode. What I don't like, pretty much the only thing I don't like, I guess, is that it doesn't give me trade value for players. So if I were to try and trade this guy to Anaheim, I have no idea what I could get in return, or what would be a crazy offer and what would be a good offer. That's the only thing that's a bit meh. Free agency, obviously, again, another big staple. You can go in here, you can sort by, let's say, overall. You got Sean Hill, Ty Domi, a few big names, you know, maybe you think about them in free agency, as well as going to upgrades now. So that's the difference in NHL 07. We have the upgrades. So right now we have 2 upgrades available. I could spend it on the legal team, and it tells you. It doesn't just say, hey, bathrooms are going up. Like, woohoo, bathrooms, level 2, yeah, good job. It actually says, hey, if you upgrade this, you'll be able to save 10% on contract signings. Okay, this gives me an actual desire to upgrade my legal team instead of just saying, oh, there's a virtual bathroom somewhere that my virtual fan is enjoying. But I need to stop talking about the bathrooms because that just gets me frustrated. As each thing has a specific attributed to it. So skating attributes by +2 for the power skating, goalie attributes by +1 for the goalie coach, and so on and so forth. So we might want to think about using those stars for somewhere we have nowhere, kind of like teamwork, gym, team travel. You know, attributes are +2 for road games with team travel, and then I can make it another +2. So that's something that we could think about. Team functions, morale's up by 5%. That's what we'll have to think about for next episode. Finances now. Like we said, we have profit, revenue. So the season ticket price is currently $67. My goodness, how time flies. Projected attendance in the mid-16,000s. Projected revenue, playoff ticket price, game revenue, merchandise, concession markup, TV revenue, blah, 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 blah. All that to say, we come away with $23.7 million. Oh, fan giveaways, okay. Player salaries, yes. Those taxes. Does it take into consideration, like, if I go to Florida, does it say, like, no state tax in Florida? No, it still says $14.2 million. Okay, that would have been really in-depth. So revenues and expenses are the 2 things. I'm not sure if you can alter this at any moment, but I don't think you can do it here. Then we go into the scouting report. Obviously, you have your scouts going to check out different areas of the world. This is not something I'm super experienced in, as I don't remember really doing much scouting back in NHL 7. I think I just played to have fun. So if I sort by offense, this guy is rated A, and it's blue. That means it's fairly accurate, so I want to continue scouting him until I get all of the attributes to black. That means it's very accurate. So I'll work on that, probably more off-screen, because I don't think you need to see NHL 07 scouting. Then we go over to the contracts. So if I sort by years left, so I have Coburn, Kozlov, and Slater, all with no years left. So I guess I need to sign them before the season even begins. And then going down to the 1 year lefts here, those are obviously expiring deals. I can release them to free agency. Don't want to do that. But if they have no years left, I can negotiate a new contract. Gotcha. So nothing really crazy there from anything we haven't seen in the past. Edit lines, minor league management. So I'll start with the edit lines. I won't go too much into the roster yet. We'll look at that after. But as I had mentioned in the NHL 07 roster update, or roster overview, I should say, there is line chemistry. People think line chemistry is new to NHL. No, it existed back then, and it was also to do with the player type. So let's say I have Kovalchuk, Bobby Holik, and I want to add a playmaker to get the sniper playmaker power forward combo. Actually, here's a better place to show you. So power forward playmaker on line 4 gives it a +2 with power forward playmaker. If I add Peter Bondra as an 84 overall sniper, there it goes to +3. Obviously, that's not what I want to do, so I don't want to play him on 2 lines, but just to say it's all about the player types when it comes down to chemistry. There's no line fits or anything like that. It just comes down to their player type. Then if you go and look at on defense, same thing. Offensive defenseman, all 3 of our pairs get +3s. And defense, there's no changes there. You have Kari Lehtinen, who is probably the best goalie prospect in the game at this moment. Minor league management. If we go and look at the minor leagues, so we can see players who are in the minors or who are just regularly healthy or are scratched. So we have 3 guys right here who are in the minors. We have a bunch of healthy scratches who will send down eventually, and we have a bunch of healthy players. That's where you manage that. I guess on that screen is where you'll send them up and down. Jersey numbers, we can name the captain from here. We can change the jersey numbers of anyone that we wanted to. Captain is Scott Mellenby, with alternates being Peter Bondra and Bobby Holik. So I don't know if we'll touch that at all, but just to say, there's the leadership core. Now here is strategy as well. This is very interesting. You can assign different strategies for different lines: overload, crash the net, behind the net. And you can go to defensive strategies: collapsing, staggered, tight point, power play, shooting, overload, umbrella, penalty kill, passive box, blah, blah, blah. So I don't know how much this really impacts the simulation in NHL 07, but that is there. Someone who has a little bit more experience could probably inform me. Practice schedule. This is where we see, okay, light skate schedule, up-tempo schedule, and that's where, the assistant, having a good assistant coach, having a good gym, and all that good stuff is going to come into play. And lastly, we have the progress reports, where we can see who is going up in overall. Sorry, I got to get used to the O button being sort and the triangle being back. So sort there. No real big upgrades. Everyone's just at a +1 for the moment because their morale is all at 100. They're all happy to be under GM data. He went in his time machine, brought it back, and here we are. So then nothing else new that you don't know already. Player stats, we can look at that during the season. Team stats, rules, gameplays. I don't know if there's any more rules that we want to touch upon because we already saw that when in the setup. I'm not sure if maybe gameplay settings have anything specific. So yeah, just sliders, and we don't really want to touch those because I'm just going to keep them as default. So with all that said and done, now when we press R1, we go to the mailbox, and we say, we just got a letter, and we open it up from Hendrik Hughes. Hello, Hendrik. GM, excuse me, Mr. Owner. Excuse me, Mr. Owner. As the owner of the Atlanta Thrashers, I would like to be the first to say congratulations and welcome. I've heard nothing but the best about your ability, and I'm excited about the coming seasons. Yes, so am I. At the same time, I would like to stress that as owner, I have certain expectations for my team. These expectations should be achieved. Get to the semifinals in the playoffs. I thought it was make the playoffs. Now it's get to the semifinals in the playoffs. I'm confident that you are more than capable of meeting these requirements. Congratulations and good luck. Sincerely, Hendrik Hughes. All right, HH, we'll see what I can do. You'll also get letters from accounting, players, coaches, staff. So I look forward to going through that mailbox. You can also press square and you can view the matchup, which is very interesting. This is great. I like this. Head-to-head, goalie profile. How cool is this? And then strategies as well. This is really good stuff. Obviously going to mean a lot more deeper into the season because this is just... Is this even preseason, or is it just, I'm not sure if they give you the preseason or not. I'll check in the calendar. And even owner expectation. It's an even matchup. I want to see you working hard out there. So this looks like it's regular season. Yeah, it's October. So I don't see anything to denote that it wouldn't be. It's just that there's home games. You start with a homestand of 4 games. And yeah, there's a little lightning bolt next to teams that are hot, I believe. As I see with the Hurricanes next to their logo, a very good team as they were about to win the they're just coming off the 2006 Stanley Cup championship, and now the Ducks are going to be winning in 2007. So now we get back to the lineup. So in front of me, I have the stats from this 2006-2007 team, and we're going to talk a little bit about this lineup. Starting off with Marian Hossa, 95 overall sniper. Marian Hossa in this season played a full 82 games, scoring 43 goals and 100 points. He's 27 years of age right now. He is already a 95 overall, but with 98 potential. So very, very nice to be seeing that. We're going to rely on him heavily. 1 year remaining on his contract, so we'll have to look at getting him re-signed ASAP, but we can't extend during the season. So Marian Hossa, thank you very much. Centering him is Bobby Holik, who in all 82 games scored 11 goals and 18 assists for 29 points. He was in his third to last season of his NHL career, and this was the second to last season with the Thrashers. So he was here for this was his second of 3 seasons with the Thrashers. He was drafted by the Hartford Whalers in 1989. He was, a little bit tired at this point, but nonetheless, an 87 overall power forward, and we'd love to get him a Stanley Cup. Age of 35 right now. He has 89 potential. He can grow. Very tough. The spirit ratings are there. He's a good centerman with 93 faceoffs. Bang. And of course, our star on this team is Ilya Kovalchuk. He scored 42 goals and 34 assists for 76 points in 82 games in what was his 5th season with the Thrashers. Yes, because he started in 2001, 2002. He was the first overall selection back in 2001. Of course, in the real world in 2009, 2010, yes, he went to the New Jersey Devils. So hopefully we can keep him with Atlanta in this world, and we can just build around him being the cornerstone and get him a couple Stanley Cups. So he does have the 98 potential as well. He's already pretty high up there. Moving to the second line now. There's not a lot of depth scoring on this team, I have to say, but Viktor Kozlov is a good one. He scored 80 points in 81 games, Vyacheslav Kozlov did, despite being at the age of 34. He has 91 potential. He can continue to grow. This was the 4th to last season of his career. He played 3 more years after this with the Thrashers before moving to the KHL and playing until 2015. So I guess he was like 42 or 43 when he stopped playing professional hockey. So shout out to him. A 3rd round pick from the Red Wings back in 1990. So second line, Dangler, 86 overall. He should be a good contributor for us. Glenn Metropolitan scored 28 goals in 57 games for the Thrashers. Peter Bondra, nothing short of an absolute legend. In 2005-2006, he played with the Thrashers in 60 games, scoring 39 points. But in 2006-2007, he actually did not stick with the Thrashers. He went to the Chicago Blackhawks and played 37 games over there before he retired. So he should not technically be on this team, I suppose. But in this universe, we could say that we got him re-signed and we keep him on this team, or he could just be trade bait for us. Nonetheless, he did play 1 year in the real world. He's 38 years of age now, and he is on a 1-year contract. This is true. Moving to the third line now, Steve Ruchin in 47 games scored 5 goals and 16 assists for 21 points. Nico Kapanen, father of Kasperi Kapanen, he didn't play much in the NHL. He moved to the KHL for most of his career, but in 60 games in this year, he scored 4 goals and 9 assists for 13 points. Not a huge help. Scott Mellenby, who was 4th in team scoring, only an 80 overall, but, to be 4th in scoring, it only took 36 points, as he's had 12 goals and 24 assists in 69 games. Not ideal. And then down on the 4th line, we have Carl Stewart, another player who played in 2005-2006 with the Thrashers, but in the real world in 2006-2007 did not. He started that season with the Penguins, then ended up going to the Hawks and then the Lightning. He only ended up playing 69 games in his entire NHL career, and in 8 games with the Thrashers had no points to show. So, hey, maybe he can get a little rejuvenation in this universe. Then we go down to Jim Slater, who in 74 games scored 5 goals and 14 assists for 19 points. And then closing out the forwards, we have Ronald Petrovicki, a 9th round selection in 1996. With the Thrashers in 2005-2006, he scored 20 points in 60 games, but once again in 2006-2007, he was not on this team. He went to the Pittsburgh Penguins. So I was debating with myself, should I make the lineup more realistic to the 2006-2007 team, or should I go with how the roster is presented to me right now and then just start up with that? So that is where I could use your suggestion. I'm not going to start simulating yet. I'm open to your suggestions to say, should we tailor the team to be more representative of that 2006-2007 squad? Let me know your thoughts on that. Moving to defense, we do have 88 overall Nicholas Havlid. He was a 3rd round selection by the Mighty Ducks in 1999. He is playing his 2nd season with the Atlanta Thrashers. In the real world, he scored 21 points in 77 games. He is somehow an 88 overall. That's great to see. As an offensive defenseman, we will have to rely on him a lot. He is paired with 84 overall defensive defenseman Andy Sutton. He had 16 points in 55 games. Pretty good for the ratio of games that he played. Second pair, offensive defenseman Steve McCarthy. He had 4 goals, 12 assists, and 16 points in 46 games. He is paired with Greg DeVries, who scored 3 goals and 21 assists for 24 points in all 82 games. And then on the third pair, you have Braden Coburn, the rookie himself. In 29 games, he scored only 4 points. He has 85 potential. This was not his rookie 2005, 2006, he played 9 games. So I guess this was his first kind of full-ish season of 29 games. And then he ended up moving on to the Philadelphia Flyers, then the Tampa Bay Lightning, the Senators, and now the Islanders. But most of his career being spent with the Flyers and Lightning, obviously. It all started back in Atlanta. We'd like to hang on to him and make him a defensive defenseman rock, a defensive rock for us, if possible, at 78 overall. So he will be one of the better prospects on the team. And then you also have Mark Popovich. In 3 games, he had 1 assist with the Thrashers in this season. He is only a 73 overall at the moment, so getting better defense could be a good course of action for us. Lastly, looking at the goaltending, of course, we have Kari Lehtinen between the pipes. He was the 2nd overall selection in the 2002 NHL entry draft. He's playing in his 3rd season with the Thrashers. In his first season in 03-04, only 4 games played. 05-06, 38 games played, but 06-07 was his first season as a true starter, playing 68 games, going 34, 24, and 9. He is a 90 overall goaltender with 98 potential. So this is really the rock. So it comes down to pretty much Lehtinen, Kovalchuk, and a little bit of Coburn, I believe, when it comes to who are we building around on this team. Kari Lehtinen could be our guy. He has 3 more years remaining on that contract. That is huge. He is backed up by Johan Hedberg, who was in his first season with the Atlanta Thrashers at the age of 33. He would go on to play 4 total seasons with Atlanta before 3 more seasons in New Jersey, and then he retired. But in those 21 games that he saw, he went 9, 4, and 2. Not terrible for Johan Hedberg, who had a pretty respectable enough career to show for himself at the end of his days. He has 81 potential, so he's playing above that as an 84 overall right now. But absolutely a serviceable backup for us, and I'm glad that we have such solid goaltending. The team is okay, but as I said, the depth is not there, and that's why this team in the end ended up going, not crazy good, but that first line carried it, and they were able to go 43, 28, and 11, but they did end up losing in the first round of the playoffs, so it did not really amount to much. All that to say, the first question is, do we make the roster changes to make it more reflective of the actual roster for 2006, 2007, but then that means that other teams may not be so reflective. I'm more of the belief that we could just stick with this, but it depends on what all of you think. And the second question is, what lineup changes do we make right off the bat? I think a better second line center would be something good for us, and I think a better third pair defenseman. Those are the bare minimums, maybe even a second pair defenseman. DeVries can go... I gotta get these buttons back under order. DeVries could switch with Coburn. Coburn could go to the minors, or he could play in the NHL, but Popovich has to go, a better offensive defenseman there. And what kind of players would you be thinking about? Because, the entire league is at our disposal. So scroll through the 2006-2007 rosters of your favorite teams and let me know who you think would be a good acquisition. So, not a super long episode. I don't want to get into any simulation just yet, but I look forward to hearing your thoughts for the Atlanta Thrashers. Do we even dip into free agency, perhaps? And what upgrades do we think about going for? Remember, if we sort by overall, this is potential, right? So, these are the Make-A-Wish players here. I don't want to go after that. I just sort by overall right now. And if we're thinking about defense, it doesn't tell you if he's an offensive or a defensive, Sean Hill, is he offensive or defensive? Or he could just be, I don't think there is a two-way D, actually. I think it's one or the other. Yeah, he's defensive. So Sean Hill in 83 is interesting. Ty Domi's a right winger. Nathan Dempsey, what's he like? Dempsey is an offensive defenseman. Okay, so Nathan Dempsey, 82 overall, that could be a good option for us. In 2006-2007, he signed a contract with the Bruins and played 17 games, scoring 1 assist. After that, he went to the AHL and then to Switzerland. So this is pretty much the end of his career. Let's try and give him some life, perhaps. Still with a little gas in the tank and an 82 overall. Obviously, the overall system very different from NHL 07 to current day NHL. but still, 82 is an 82 when it's all comparative. No really centers to go for, though, when it comes to the second line position we were thinking about filling. Also concerning rosters, I just wanted to say that although I left everything default, I did move some players from Europe over to the NHL if they were playing in the NHL for 2006-2007. For example, Johnny Oduya, I moved him from Sweden to the New Jersey Devils. Joel Lundqvist, twin brother of Henrik Lundqvist, I moved him from Frölunda to the Dallas Stars. All thanks to the wonderful work of Hobbsy himself. Thank you so much to one of the greatest assistant GMs out there. Look at this massive sheet over here. I did not move every single player who had NHL experience or who was a high overall to free agency or anything like that. But for example, Nicholas Backstrom going to the Capitals, or like I said, Oduya, or even Patrick Hornquist to the Predators, things like that that make it a bit more realistic. I very much appreciate that. And those are the only changes that I made. So like I said, we could make even more changes to move players around within the NHL, but these are the changes that I made to bring players from Europe to the NHL if they were signed to a team for the 2006-2007 regular season. If you look on the list, other examples who play in the NHL include Jiri Tolusti, the goaltender Nicholas Backstrom, Tuukka Rask, Kari Ramo. For example, there's Alexandre Degler, who's a 89 overall, but he was not signed to an NHL team in 2006-2007, so I said I won't bother bringing him over. But other guys like Anze Kopitar or Antti Niemi, just scrolling through this list, those guys are the ones we can put on the NHL teams so that we have less random generated guys and more prospects who are growing into the stars that we are seeing today / have already seen, since some of them, funnily enough, are getting closer to retirement. But thank you once again to Hobbsy for this list and all the work that he put into it. So that is pretty much it, my friends. I hope you enjoyed a little trip down memory lane here. I look forward to hearing your thoughts moving into the year number 1. I suppose it would be an entire simulation. I think we could go one full season. The 2006-2007 sim here with the Thrashers, maybe until the trade deadline. Always depends how the team is doing. But I do appreciate you watching. If you want to be made aware of all the uploads for this series, make sure that you are on board and subscribe to the channel. Leave a like if you are excited for this series as well. Leave a comment with any of your thoughts here on YouTube or over in the Discord server. The link for that is in the description, along with any other link that you need, such as to the Twitch channel, with streams happening at least once a week, if not more, heading into the summer, hoping for 2-3+ times per week, and the Twitter page as well for any fun, hot hockey takes here in the playoffs. But thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to hearing your thoughts here for the Atlanta Thrashers heading into year number 1 of 2006-2007.